Any street bike rider knows getting your helmet all gunked up while you're riding can just be a flat-out pain. So ever wonder how AMA's best racers and riders get those tear-offs on their helmet, and where do they come from? We're joining here right now. We've got Pat from Shoei and Jeff from Arai, and they're going to explain to us how those tear-offs get on the helmet and what goes on behind the scenes. All right, Cristy Lee here, lucky enough to be inside the Shoei tent with Pat himself. You are the official tear-off guy for Shoei helmets here.
That's right.
Kind of run us through the process of how exactly these little clear sticky things get on these helmets.
The rider will show up with their helmet after a practice session, a qualifying session, or a race, whatever the case is. They bring me the helmet, it's covered with bugs, and it's really sweaty. The first thing I do is I take the shield off and then remove any tear-offs that are still on there. Take the shield and put it in a bucket of water to clean it out. There's nothing else in the water at all. It's just pure water to make sure that the shield stays in top condition. I dry out the helmet while I'm doing that and clean the helmet off. And then once everything's all clean and dry, I put the shield back on the helmet, and I'll put a tear off over the shield once it's ready and dry. And then I tape down all four corners of the tear off. Once all four corners are taped, I'll fold over the edge right here. Basically, as you see here, the edge of this first tear off is already folded over. Then I'll put the second tear off on, tape the four corners of that as well, and then put the second, after the second tear off's on, I'll tape those four corners and then tape the tab as well. You need to tape the tab down because the tear off here is too thin, and if it's not taped, it'll flap around in the breeze and it'll rip off and there won't be any tab for the rider to grab. So we tape those down to kind of add a little bit more structural integrity to the tear off tab, and then once that's done, the rider's all set to go and ready to go race.
Well, that sounds like quite the process here. Now, if we can look over to the right-hand side of the table, it looks like you've got all kinds of tools, gadgets, scissors, all kinds of fancy stuff in there. What do we got going on in this toolbox?
This right here is actually a pad. I'm working to custom fit this helmet for the rider. It's a pad and a little bit of glue to help set it up. This glue is very, very special stuff that consumers can't buy, and I wouldn't suggest you glue anything in your helmet without knowing exactly what you're doing. I've also got a duster here that I use to clean the shields. It's actually a really nice color. I'm pretty happy with the color of this. The tape, as I said, I tape down the four corners of the tear-offs, and that's what this tape is. I've got some screwdrivers for base plates. I've got some spare parts for the helmet. I've got a bunch of different pairs of scissors to cut the tape and to cut the tear-offs off. And other than that, just kind of stickers and other things that customers will ask for on a regular basis, and not really too much else. Just try to keep it as simple as I can so I don't get overwhelmed.
So a rider rolls up to your tent here, start to finish. He drops off the helmet. How long does it take for this entire process?
It really depends on how bad it is. If the helmet's really, really sweaty, it takes a long time for it to dry out, and I'll have to take the interior out and sit it in the sun. And if it's a really, really gnarly track with a lot of bugs, it takes a lot longer to clean it up. But I'd say from start to finish, maybe 5 minutes.
Out of all the race courses that these riders hit throughout the season, what's the sweatiest or buggiest course I guess you could spectate on?
Actually, Ohio's not too far down the list. It's definitely up there because it's really humid here. Road Atlanta's really pretty good. It's got a lot of bugs and there's a lot of sweat in the rider's helmets at that point. And I'd say probably Barber's up there as well.
So how mad would you be right now? I just watched you put this whole sticky thing on there. If I took my big, dirty, sweaty palm and just slammed it right on top.
Well, luckily, I still haven't taken the cover off the tear-off yet, so it probably wouldn't bother me too much, but you'd be surprised how many consumers come up and touch it and go, oh, what's that? And then, like, well, it was a tear-off, now I got to do it again.
Well, you just foiled my evil plot over here in the tents. Well, thanks so much for talking with us. You kind of cleared up some questions that I know a lot of our riders out there had about these helmets and how the tear-offs work.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, tent number 2 here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I'm under the Arai tent with Jeff. Jeff, you're kind of doing the same process as the Shoei guys over here, but you got a little different of a system. I see your tear-offs here, not quite on the helmets yet. You've got this air compressor. What do you got going on over here for your process?
Well, we actually do the process a little bit different than Patrick. We have a brow vent system on our helmets by my seat over here. Sometimes when we wash the shields, there's actually water that gets trapped in between the shield and the brow vent. So what we do is we just take and shoot a little bit of air in there, and you can actually watch the moisture come right out of it. And that helps us out in the process of putting these tear-offs on. And the other reason we use it is once we put the first tear-off on and the second tear-off, what we'll do is we'll actually blow some air through the tear-off to get some of the dust and maybe other lint and pieces in the air.
Now, not to compare apples and oranges here, but would you say that your process is a notch above the Shoei process over there?
As always, we always try to one-up each other between the technologies. We were the first ones with the tape cutters, and Patrick finally got his this year. And Patrick just seems to want to stay away from that air compressor. So we'll see. Maybe very, very shortly you'll have one of those also.
Well, hopefully I didn't spark up any tear-off wars between you and Patrick over there in Shoei. Okay, so we've got our tear-offs here that are not quite on the helmets. Can we take a look at this and see what it looks like? Obviously, we know what the clear plastic film looks like on the actual shield, but what does it look like before it gets to the helmet?
Nothing much to it. When we pull this tear-off out, it's just a thin piece of plastic that has two pieces of tissue paper in between, so then it gets stuck together, which makes life much easier.
Excellent. Well, you've got quite the array of helmets going on here. I see you've got your helmet covers in there. It looks like those are being cleaned and then dried out as well. What kind of riders have we got lined up here?
Well, we have Tommy Hayden right here. We have Fernando Amortini over here. We have Cody Wyman, Martin Cardenas, Michael Corbino, Huntley Nash, Paulie Allison, and of course Danny Eslick. We have Kyle Wyman over here, which is another one of the Wyman clans. They got 3 out here this weekend and they're killing me. We have Greg White over here from Speed TV. We actually have Eric Stump, another Kyle Wyman, Taylor Knapp, Michael Barnes, and another Fernando Amortini.
Ooh, you have got that on absolute lockdown. Now, okay, I see you can look at the helmets, you see the names and numbers, you know what the colors of the team are. That's easy. But what have you got going on here? How do you keep that organized with all those helmet interior pieces there?
It's a nice little process. What we have going here is we actually have the rider's initials on the back of every one of those headliners back there, so we can remember whose headliner is whose headliner, because we certainly don't want to mix that up. But what we're doing, we're basically taking them out so we can dry them properly and make sure these riders have a real dry helmet when they go out the grid. Because this place, it's pretty hot out here and we're getting pretty sweaty, so it makes it much nicer.
So I've heard it's kind of a sweaty place. Now, I'm a street bike rider, sport bike racer myself. Where could I go if I wanted to feel, like an AMA pro for a hot second? Where can I go and get these tear-offs for myself, and how would I go about doing that?
There's actually 2 places you can go to get these. You can actually go to the AraiAmericas.com website and go into the parts section and buy them from there. Or also, we use the super thins. They're a little bit less expensive than the Arai tear-offs, so when we go through so many of them here, we usually go through about 120 a day. So we use a little bit cheaper one out here in the road race paddock.
Great. Well, I might have to go home and sign myself up for a couple of those and put them on my helmet and feel like a professional.
Absolutely. So when that bug flies in your face, you can get it right out of there real quick.
All right. Well, thanks so much for talking with us, Jeff, and good luck with all your helmets today. Hopefully it won't be too sweaty and buggy.
Oh, I hope not, but we'll get them out there, get a good show going, and hopefully they'll be sweating their butts off, getting some good laps in.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we tried to avoid him all weekend, but Huntley Nash has tracked us down here. It looks like he's actually picking up his Arai helmet, which has just been adorned with the new tear-off here. How many of these do you blow through on a weekend?
Probably like 100 or something. I don't know. A lot, because there's a lot of bugs and it's really hot. So I don't know. Jeff over here, he's alone this weekend without Bruce, and he's doing a good job by himself. And keeping tear-offs on my helmet and keeping me from being sweaty, and so it's good.
So does Jeff make you go faster?
Yes, Jeff makes me go very fast. And I also like to let you know these pink decals are really fast.
Yeah, what is with the pink?
I don't know. It's my favorite color. My mom passed away from breast cancer, and breast cancer is my thing. So, I feel the pink, and you should check out these socks right now because they're so legit.
Oh, wow. I don't even want to ask you where you got those. Okay, we'll let that go. So we saw the Chabro on the back of your leathers. Why not on the helmet?
There's no room for it, really. I mean, I guess if I could, I would. But, we'll stick with the Huntley for now.
Good deal, Huntley. Thanks for talking with us again, and good luck out there.
Thank you.